Ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. The judge and myself were at the Soldier of Fortune Convention. This is their 20th anniversary program here, and they've done such a terrific job. I've helped freedom-loving peoples in places all over the world, and we're very happy to be a part of this celebration. Great convention, isn't it, Judge?
Yeah, it's a fine convention. Wonderful people here. It's just a tremendous number, and that banquet last night was out of this world.
It really was, wasn't it? We had Gordon Liddy speak to us last night. He's a friend of Bob Brown, the publisher, and Gordon gave a good talk, didn't he?
Gordon laid it on the line, you might say, on the line.
Well, we're going to be going over to the convention hall. We're going to be going out to the range and showing you part of the firepower demonstration, and I know everyone's going to enjoy it. So let's let another shooting show begin. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out here at the firepower demonstration at the range for the Soldier of Fortune Convention. A lot of interesting things out today. Hope you enjoy it. And this is Tim Gender with the MAG Corporation.
We're going to do some things to just show you some relative comparisons to the cartridge here. Bill here, when he's taking care of presidential candidates and stuff like that, has a variety of weapons that he's going to use.
Yeah, plenty of
We're going to shoot a few watermelons here. He's going to shoot one here with a 9mm. Then he's going to shoot one with a 40 here, 40 Smith & Wesson, and then we're going to try some here with the 45. After Rich Davis here is going to use a 44 Magnum, the very ammunition that he's going to shoot himself with. We're going to see what it's going to do to a watermelon, and then we'll see how. We're going to need a shovel to pick him up with when he gets done with it. You will see. Okay, how about a 9? Okay, that was a 9mm. Now he didn't eat the whole thing, because those were not Michigan watermelons, so otherwise he would have ate those. It's a 40. Gotta hit it first. That's right. Kind of interesting, isn't it? What type of ammo was that, Bill?
That was a SIG shooting hydroshot.
What was the 9mm?
That was Talon, black Talon.
Lots of differences, lots of differences. Now we're going to have Rich use a 44 Magnum. He's got a black Talon. Does anybody want to stand on the other side of this and catch the bullet? I guess there's no takers, Rich, so it's hard to get help these days. Take a bullet, any bullet. Ace of spades. Guacamole. Okay, another watermelon.
Yes, boss.
Now this particular carbine
This is Rich Davis, assistant Tim here. Rich with Second Chance Body
We sell these
Armor.
to a lot of cop shops whose administrators won't let them use these black colored guns. I don't know, they don't like, we thought we'd paint it fruity and they still wouldn't go for it. But, you know, if you're going to go hunt moose, if you're going to hunt something in downtown, you can do it. And some of the cops go for them, you know, if you got administrators that don't understand. Now this is a factory round, and this now expanding around is a full metal jacket. Another one. Now you can imagine if we were shooting expandable ammunition, there would be some amount of difference. How about one for the road? Fire in the hole. Hey, cameraman, did you get any on you? Hey, that's Johnny there at the shooting show. Now, he got a mess on him, but let's give him a good hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Folks from Japanese TV here filming the match today. Glad to have you with us.
In a minute, we're going to do a bolt action. Most of the noise you're hearing is the actual bolt slamming shut in the next cartridge.
You can hear the record says a little down.
Notice it's subsonic with high velocity ammunition. That is the first order.
Oh, that'll be up to 14. This is the bolt action rifle with suppressor.
High velocity ammo.
That's it. All the noise you get. Unsuppressed.
Now we'll put the suppressor on. Notice you didn't even notice any threads there. I had one customer, I sent one of these two, and the guy in the box called up and said, what machine shop, you know, can we send it to thread the end of the barrel? And I said, sir, if you'll just take the gun in your hand, hold it up straight, turn the muzzle, it'll spin off. He said, wow, that's really neat. We put that protective cover on there because a lot of times, especially in SWAT operations, you don't want the news media, the loving news media, to know that you're going to kill that murderer with the suppressor. So the SWAT team can go through the line of loving media without the suppressor. When he gets in position, he drops the suppressor on so he won't give away his position. John's put the suppressor on there. This is the same ammunition, no cheater. We didn't substitute any subsonic here. The noise you're hearing is virtually all downrange with the hypervelocity bullet. Full power 223. We have these guns and SWAT teams across the country. In about 2 minutes.
This is the conversion
You
kit
can
for
change
the
it back just as
Ruger
quick.
Mini 14. This is the police model, the whatever it is, AC5, 5, 6, whatever, their full auto version. Let's see what it sounds like with the conversion. Shooting the 20
22 from the Mini 14. Full auto, too.
full auto.
Then you can
Well, there's 14
because
servers.
there's no danger of throwing rocks or anything.
Hey, how's it coming in? The key on the wind.
So we all be mounted on
We're
sticks.
going to wait just a little bit on that wind.
Show you how high they
I'll
are.
go back to the target now.
Into which has been put a chemical for the
Black and red, that's the Joe at the top.
to make a lot of smoke.
Yo, this is Bernie coming in. Okay, Jim, do the first
Oh, we
smoke,
got
Jim.
someone coming
What
in.
we're doing
We're going to fire smoke here to get the ground indication. That'll show the velocity of the wind as well as the direction so that they
all
can
legally owned.
direct the gas into the landing site. Here comes
It's amazing how they fly these parafoils.
National Farms Act pass.
Bernie's going to be hooking this turn here.
Every one of them. No illegal farms.
Go ahead, Bernie.
They range from
I'm going to try and follow him in.
I think Bernie's just eyeing the crowd right here.
1895,
Okay, now Bernie, you can see Bernie's using these innocent brakes.
going to demonstrate some
He's getting some lift, a
ones
little
from
speed here.
Japanese
This
come
man
over.
is right just about on the edge. Good. Thanks, Bernie. Not too, Bernie.
I will go down the
Okay,
line.
our next jumper, this looks like Kitty coming
What
in
is
here.
this done? From what period of time?
All right, here comes Kitty.
Okay. And what?
I'm sorry, this is Mike, her husband. All right, this is Mr. Earl. Good job, good landing. Nice landing, Mike. Good job. Very good. Okay, here comes Joe. Here comes Joe Hensley. Here comes the screw guys. Let's see how he handles it today. Nice flip. Nice flip. Great. Good man, Joe. Okay, here comes Steve. Head up, everybody. Head up. Good job. Hey, this is damn hard to do with these high winds, so let's give him a big hand. Kitty can't really tell us to sit here over at TV, ABC News camera.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here in the Arizona Military Collectors Association, right, with a young man named Dennis Gilliam. And Dennis, in fact, you have a lot of very nicely maintained equipment here. I want to talk about this motorcycle in a second, but tell us about the Arizona Military Collectors.
Well, the Arizona Military Vehicle Collectors Club is a small but dedicated bunch of people that have our central area of operation in Phoenix. And we preserve and restore and generally play with military vehicles and all the accoutrements that go with them. And if you'll have a minute here to pan around, you'll see vehicles that span 50 years right here.
Well, I am impressed. You have, of course, a Gatling gun over here we'll look at in just a moment. You have some cannons, some unusual military vehicles that I'm not personally familiar with. So now right behind us we have a military vehicle, and let's see if we can get this in. This is how about a 1941 Indian model 741B. This was what they use these motorcycles for.
This was a dispatch cycle. Messengers would run around from unit to unit, using those. And this particular one's been in the Canham family for a good 50 years. His dad picked it up in World War II and has been around ever since.
Well, now, friends, I tell you what, we're going to do it. We're going to try and do a small favor for these good folks here. They're anyone with Indian motorcycle parts. Now, you know that Indians are somewhat rare.
Oh, yeah.
Now.
Not making them anymore.
They're not making them anymore, but there are a lot of Indian enthusiasts out there. If you have any Indian motorcycle parts.
For the Scout.
For the Scout. Okay, this Indian Scout here. All right, would you please call Kevin and Sherry Canham? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
All right, now get a pencil and write this down. They're in Wickenburg, Arizona. Area 520-684-5954. If you have any Indian motorcycle parts. Now, who knows what somebody will come up with. I'll give that number again, Kevin or Sherry, at area 520-684-5954. So, anyway, well, let's look at a couple of things here, Dennis.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. You know, friends, all of us as shooting enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains. Give them a call, 1-800-345-6923, a very inexpensive subscription price. Again, 1-800-345-6923. Subscribe today.
This is it, the product that all gun collectors, hunters, and enthusiasts have been waiting for. It's Sweet Shooter. This amazing space-age product protects your valuable guns and knives. No more rusting, no more corroding, no more time-consuming cleanups, no more fouling. Recommended by the North American Hunting Club and Murray State College, Sweet Shooter provides greater accuracy, higher velocity, longer life, smoother action. You don't want to be without the protection only Sweet Shooter can give you. Like nothing else on the market today, it solves all your gun care problems. Only $19.95. So grab your credit card and call today. Sweet Shooter!
Now, Dennis, this is an unusual looking vehicle in the background here. Why don't you tell us what this is?
Well, this is a mid-70s Land Rover, one of 500 built by Rover for the Army of the Rhine. So the British troops that used this vehicle in Germany were familiar with it. Few exist. There's 13 left.
Now, Dennis, I think I've seen a gun like this on TV in the old Western movies. Am I correct?
You probably are. You've probably seen this one.
Really?
This gun has been a California favorite. It's been in many movies. It's Colt's 4570 authentic Gatling gun from the turn of the century. It is a fully firing, functional weapon. Our government does not determine that this is a machine gun. This is you take it home if you bought it, and it is for sale. It's only $110,000 with a documented history, and that includes all the tools and limber.
All right, well, let's see if we can home in on this a little bit, Bobby. Bring us in. How many barrels?
This is a, I'd say this is a 10-barrel gun. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's a 10-barrel gun.
Well,
yeah.
And this model was the Indian War model, 1865 to 1890. I don't know what in the world you're holding, but there's got a picture of this long cannon here that went on a Jeep. Explain this, please.
This is a 106 millimeter recoilless rifle. This thing could sit on the ground just like it is and fire and not have any push to the gun. It didn't require anything heavy. The reason being that all the blasts that pushed the shell forward came out a hole on the back.
Don't stand behind it, right?
It's the barbecue that you couldn't believe. This is the shell casing that held the propellant. You'll notice it's full of holes. The reason being that it has to have a lot of powder in here because half of it gets burned and blown out the back to equalize the push that pushes the bullet down the front. These were put on mules, Army mules, not the kind that live, but the kind of little flat mechanical thing that run around and go put, 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 put. They put them on Jeeps, they put them on big trucks, they put them on little trucks. They use these things everywhere through the 50s and into the 60s, and early in Vietnam they were quite popular, but it was eventually superseded by tow missiles.
Well, now I see what looks to be a magazine here on, well, now what is this?
Well, this little gun on top is your spotter. It took a special 50 caliber round, and it had identical ballistics to the big round. So when you saw a target, you didn't sight this thing by looking through it. You shot at him with a little gun, and you watched the tracer burn, and wherever it landed, if that's what you like, then you pull the other trigger, and the big one went there.
Ready on the right!
Gotta get warm too. What? Gotta get warm. How warm? Huh? How warm?
Ready on the left!
Are you ready down there?
Ready!
Friends, the Sands Convention Center is really a tremendous facility, and there are so many exhibits inside. There are so many things to see. There's no way we can show it all to you on this week's program, but we're going to make a start. Hope you enjoy it. Well, friends, we're so excited about our health club. We've had such great participation from all over the country, but wait, we've only just begun. And those people who have started on our products, they're starting to see some things that they are so pleased with. And say, for instance, yours truly here, and we have some old footage, I think, somewhere around here we're going to put in. I've lost about 60 pounds. Now, friends, what we have, and this is something we want to start talking about, we have a weight management program. And you don't get all those things. A lot of us have been on diets, myself included, and when you cut back what you eat, you don't feel good, you don't have energy, you get nervous, jittery, and you just think about, well, I sure need something to eat. Well, this is a wonderful program you can get on and stay on. You'll feel good, your health will be good, and it will help you maintain whatever weight that you want and is healthy for you. Friends, it helps our program, but more than that, it also helps you. For information on our health club, give us a call, 1-800-895-7916, 1-800-895-7916. Leave your name, address, and phone number. We'll have someone get back to you immediately. Friends, it is absolutely fabulous. And I tell you what, I think you can see the difference in me. And, of course, I'm still working on it, too. I could stand to be a little trimmer than I am. But it is so much fun, feeling good every day when you start out. You have all this energy that frankly, flatly, I didn't have in past years. So it's so exciting. So don't hold yourself back. Let's do it today. For health club information, give us a call, 1-800-895-7916. Leave your name, address, and phone number. Someone will get back to you as soon as possible. Friends, this is such a wonderful thing. Do it for yourselves today. Well, friends, here we are at the California Glamour Girls booth, and you know, we have a couple of very lovely young ladies. They're professional models. They're from Hollywood, California, and they have a calendar that they're selling, and you know, I just don't think there's any sort of problem with pretty girls being at a convention. Why don't you tell us, what's your name?
My name is Lori Carbajal.
Yeah.
Hi, and I'm Claudia Torres.
And you're from Hollywood, and how long have you been in this business as far as modeling, all your life?
Well, I've been in 2 years. I've been 5 years, about 5 years, roughly.
You're from California originally, or?
Yeah, born in LA.
Well, it looks like you spent some time on the beach.
Yeah, lots of tan.
You have about as good a quality tan as I think I ever saw.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we sincerely enjoyed meeting you folks here, and we hope you had a good convention. I'm sure you'll want to come back next year, huh?
Oh, definitely. Yes, definitely.
What?
This is our 10th year anniversary calendar, and we are enjoying just selling it here at this fair. It's wonderful.
And the people here, great.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Aren't these some of the nicest people?
Yes, they are.
They are. We're definitely coming back.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing here with a young man named James Pate.
Thanks for calling me young, too.
Well, compared to some of us who are more middle-aged than some of the others of us.
I'm high mileage.
Well, I tell you, a lot of you will remember Jim from doing the pieces from the Branch Davidian trial down in Waco, and people really enjoyed that. And, of course, since then, you've done a little more TV.
That launched me into ABC News and Larry King Live. I couldn't believe it.
Well, that's true. In fact,
it started right here. It started right here.
But we got a better show than they do anyway.
Absolutely.
Well, and really, we've had such a great time. You've enjoyed this. You had a good seminar here, I understand.
I did. We talked about the militarization of U.S. law enforcement and the impact of UN peacekeeping duty on unit cohesion and the bad effect it's had on the U.S. military.
Well, that's something that we talk about a lot as far as these general subjects. What about Ruby Ridge? What about, in fact, let's go back to Waco. How did those hearings go as far as you were concerned?
The hearings on Waco, unfortunately, were very ill-prepared. The Democrats took over. The Republicans, lacking legislative experience, let the Democrats like Charles Schumer run over them. They didn't have good follow-up questions. I don't think they were very well prepared to start with. But in contrast to that, the good news is the Randy Weaver hearings in the Senate are every bit as good as the Waco hearings were bad. So, and some progress was made in the Waco hearings. I think I'm hoping some perjury indictments against ATF agents are going to result, particularly Chuck Sarabin and Mr. Winoski.
Mm-hmm. Well, what they need to know, we think, is that they cannot get away with criminal behavior on the American people.
Well, that remains to be seen. I'm hoping there's going to be a special prosecutor named as a result of the Randy Weaver hearings in the Senate, and we would hope to see some indictments against the FBI agents involved. I have never covered anything. I've been covering federal law enforcement for 18 years, where 5 or 6 FBI agents come in to testify and take the Fifth Amendment. That tells you something right there.
Really, that was outrageous. I know that we're running short of time. We're on our way over to the banquet, and Gordon Liddy is going to be speaking over there.
That's right. He's the keynote.
And I think that's, I'm looking forward to hearing that. But what do you see? We're hearing a lot about Russians going on U.S. military bases looking at what used to be sensitive equipment.
Right. You just had a bunch of former East Bloc troops down in Louisiana in some sort of exercise, didn't
Yes,
you?
we did. And what bothers me is, now they may be nice enough people and all that, but the Russians are still, don't they have all those nuclear weapons?
Right, and they've still got a very active intelligence organization, and in fact our FBI is now training former East Bloc intelligence agents and law enforcement agents.
Something's wrong
in Eastern Europe.
Why are we doing
And I think it's good to help these people, to cultivate them as friends, but when you're cultivating a friendship, you go slow and you find out, you feel people out, you just don't jump in whole hog. I think we're going a little bit too fast. Well, Slick Willie's loved the Russians for a long time. I mean, nobody loved the Russians as much as Bill Clinton, especially when they were still communists. I mean, that was
his deal, wasn't it?
That's his deal over there, yeah.
And maybe Hillary's deal today.
Well, I don't know. I think, you know what, I think Hillary Clinton was very involved in the Waco decision-making process. That's one thing that came up in the Waco hearings. You didn't hear anything about it in testimony, but that was some of the behind-the-scenes speculation as far as who was the point person in the White House making decisions. I think it was Bernard Nussbaum and Hillary Clinton and Webb Hubbell over at the Justice Department.
You know, and this needs to be gotten out and talked about. Hillary Clinton is an unelected official. She's not even appointed.
Well, she's sort of a de facto vice president.
I suppose so.
If not the president.
Well, I guess that remains to be seen. Well, Jim, we do appreciate the work you've done. And hey, I thought you stood up with Koppel real well on Nightline.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Typically, the major news organizations are not kind to gun owners or gun enthusiasts.
I thought he did a fairly well-balanced job.
I thought he did.
Larry King Live is not a friend of the Second Amendment, but I thought that the Ted Koppel piece was fairly well balanced.
Well, we're very pleased when someone like yourself, who is articulate, who can get on and and stand up for us.
Well, listen, I appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, see you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Jim.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. You know, Carrie, I think it's as important for you ladies to know how to use these firearms as it is for us men. But you know, there's something else. We can have firearms for defense of our homes and certainly for sport, but we also need information.
Yes, I agree. I think the New American Magazine is the best source of information available in this country.
Well, I would certainly agree. The New American Magazine is the truth and nothing but the truth. And friends, if you would like to know what is really going on in this country and around the world, if you want, in fact, the truth, well, you need to get the New American Magazine. So here's how to do it. You can get the New American by calling 1-800-727-TRUE, and those numbers, of course, are 1-800-727-8783. The New American, $22 for a 6-month subscription. It comes twice a month. Now, friends, with your new Shootin' Show subscription, they will also send you a free copy of what the United Nations is bringing to all of us. So this is very important. Subscribe today. You know, friends, in times like these, which indeed are strange times, we certainly need our firearms, but we also need the information about what's really going on. Order today.
Tri-Tote's real easy to use because all you have is a hook on your waist and you have another hook on a strap.
Okay, so all you're doing is you're hanging your gun up like you would on a peg gun rack. There is never anything attached to your equipment when you use the tri-tote. Okay, you just set the gun with one hook behind the trigger guard and the other hook on the barrel. To use it, you just push in on towards your chest, pick the gun up to shoot it. Basically, you got 7 different positions anywhere you want to range the barrel of the gun by just taking it off. It's a piece of Velcro strap onto a Velcro shoulder pad. You just put the gun into it, pick it up and shoot it any way you want. I know a lot of people like to walk around with their gun over their wrist. In this position, tucked up under your arm, it's real comfortable, except it breaks your wrist. Set the gun with the hook in front of the trigger guard, and you got the same position, except your hands free always. And what you want to do is you can take your trigger finger right at the trigger guard, pick the gun right up off the pod, and then you got it ready to shoot. Okay? The other position that you have is when you set the butt of the gun right on the hook on the side, and you can just hold your gun for field shooting in this manner, or you can just rest it back on your shoulder, shrug your shoulder, hit the gun, catch it, and the gun comes up. It's that simple to use. A lot of people like to go out riding on their four-wheeler and their ATV or climb into their deer stand or drag their deer. You got a securing strap that just peels back. All you do is set it on the barrel of the gun, wrap the barrel up, and you have a little securing loop down here on the pod. Okay? You take that and you secure that right over the hook of the gun, so you're securing the top and the bottom. You can ride your four-wheeler, you can climb your tree stand in this manner. If you'd like to pull out your deer, you can open your waist belt up, drop your right hand down through your straps, bring your left hand back up through it. The gun immediately goes on your back. Buckle it up, take away any of that slack. You don't want that. Just readjust it. Pull it up tight on your back, and that's the most secure back carry you'll ever have. You can drag your deer out any way you want to drag your deer out. Climb your hands, use your binoculars. You're always hands-free with the tri-tote.
Now, friends, due to the success and tremendous sales of the tri-tote, they've been able to increase their production and get the price down. Now, for our Shootin' Show audience, they're $29.95 plus $6.50 shipping and handling. Give them a call, 1-800-231-1443. Again, 1-800-231-1443. Everyone that carries any sort of firearm or fishing rod or whatever in the woods, this is really a great thing everybody ought to have. Well, friends, we hope you're enjoying our program today. We're in good health. I'm happy to report back from the Soldier Fortune Convention, which we're watching footage today that we shot a few days ago out there. And I'll tell you what, Judge, how'd you like? I thought it was a great convention myself, didn't you?
Well, of course, Johnny, I didn't go to any of the meetings or anything like that. All I did was see the exhibit hall, and the exhibit hall was rather remarkable. It had a little bit of everything there, from literally from A to Z. I frankly thought the prices were a little high on most items.
Well, still, realize, of course, that was retail there in the hall, but we had a tremendous number of all kinds of new products and things that you just won't see anywhere else. And, of course, we're going to be showing some of those today. Incidentally, we saw families, we saw some of the nicest people who were there, quite a few, shall we say, rather, I guess you'd call them celebrities were there, a good number of folks that are very well known. I'd also like to say there were a number of pretty girls there. And, hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with girls being pretty. Do you think so? I just think girls looking like girls is great.
No question about that, Johnny. You can't get an argument out of me on that.
Well, we did. I enjoyed very much. Gordon Liddy, of course, was the keynote speaker at the convention. And I enjoyed Gordon. I hadn't seen him speak in person before, but he's a really good speaker, isn't he?
He's an excellent speaker. He's an attorney, you know, a former FBI agent, former representative of some government agency. He is articulate. He's very articulate. And I'm telling you, he is really down on government as it exists.
Well, Gordon thinks that the ATF should be abolished. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, he said, and quoting Gordon, or essentially what he was talking about, he said that when Prohibition ended, you remember that during the speech, he said when Prohibition ended, they had all those government agents that had no job, so they formed the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms to give them work. Now, I don't know, that's what Gordon, you think that's reasonable?
Well, certainly to some extent, yes.
And he also thinks that the ATF should just be abolished because for what they actually do.
Well, I'm beginning to think that the FBI needs to be disarmed. What they did at Ruby Ridge is horrible, and the stories keep coming out on that. They're still continuing as of this week. Former Green Beret Colonel Bo Gritz testified at the hearings that he believed that Vicki Weaver was actually the primary target of the FBI's SWAT team. They call it a hostage rescue team, but it was a SWAT team. And they had targeted her because she was probably the most influential member of the family.
So it looks like she was the one they actually meant to kill out of all this.
Well, I'm kind of like Weaver's attorney, Gary Spence, who incidentally is an excellent criminal defense lawyer. Spence said that all this business about Randy Weaver having shot his own son is absurd, that if there had been any reasonable belief of that, any possible belief of it, the government wouldn't have paid $3.1 million to in that damage suit. Really, this thing has gotten really good hearings, and even Dianne Feinstein can't believe that these FBI agents are contradicting each other where they are.
Well, let me tell you what I heard today, that the anti-terrorism bill that we've talked about on the show before has been pushed back because of the mood of the country. The Congress, some of these liberal congressmen just don't think they can put votes together to pass, because we're seeing examples of what the government has done in the past, and they're saying, why give them more powers, which we've been saying all along, when they'll do things like the Waco fiasco, Ruby Ridge, Idaho, why give them more power? And a lot of people are saying that now.
Well, that's true. The NRA is telling people to get their congressman to get behind H.R. 1488, which is supposed to be repealing the gun ban, so-called gun ban, that was in the crime bill. But the gun owners of America are saying, hey, no, don't get behind that bill. That bill is bad because they federalize so many state crimes. For example, one who just brandishes a firearm might be sentenced to imprisonment for not less than 10 years. And we know that of the 2.5 million crimes that are prevented each year by the availability of firearms, that a great many of those have involved the brandishment of firearms.
In other words, someone coming to their home and just holding a gun up and saying, well, no, you're not going to invade my home, and they run off. Now, that could be theoretically called brandishing a firearm. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I think they exempted the home, but that's all they exempted.
Well, there are all kinds of people that have businesses that do have guns down there to prevent robberies and things, and sometimes all you have to do is show a gun. And this is what we're talking about. Some prosecutor might want to turn that around, or in fact, the thief or the robber might go down to the police station and say, hey, they just brandished a gun at me, and then the person with the business will be in trouble. So no, certainly the law already allows for any reasonable person's activity. We just don't need to give the federal government any more power than it's got.
Well, Gun Owners of America have been very specific about it. In fact, there's one of the letters that I got from them said, gun owners actually do have a few friends in Congress that we can depend on when we need them. And they put at the top of that list Representative Roscoe Bartlett, Republican of Maryland, Helen Chenoweth, Republican of Idaho, and Steve Stockman, a Republican of Texas. They're probably the three of the finest representatives that we have, and of course I've always boosted Helen Chenoweth because she's up there in the district where my children live. And I understand I'm unhappy about it because that's 1,800 miles away, but that's it certainly is a friendly area. But I'm concerned about that. They claim that they are getting some of those provisions out of it, but they got in it somehow or other, and I have some clippings at my daughter has sent me from about the Ruby Ridge hearings. It's getting a big play in the Idaho newspapers, of course, and she sends clippings to me. Almost every letter we get from her, which is about 2 or 3 a week, or maybe 3 or 4 a week. She has some clippings that she's included in them. The NRA is saying that we're working on the appropriations bill that takes money away from the National Center for Disease Control because they're using that money to lobby Congress against guns. That's the so-called Smith Amendment to H.R. 2127. They're asking that we call our congressman and asking them to support the Smith Amendment. What's happening is, of course, that the taxpayer funds are being used to lobby on behalf of Sarah Brady and handgun control, and of course they're not. We got to pay for our advertising if we can buy it. If we can buy it. Our successes in the states continue to roll on.
Well, let's clarify something on the Center for Disease Control, what you're talking about there. Some of these goofy people in government and connected with the National Center for Disease Control and Prevention, they're saying that firearms is classing it as a preventable disease. And these people are the ones that have the disease between their ears in their minds about why we have firearms. And that's what that's about. They're calling it, they're treating it as a disease, and it's utterly ridiculous. Anyway, back to the states. Go
Well,
ahead.
it's faulty research and reporting of things that really gets me, because they fund anti-gun research and lobbying activities, and they work hand in hand with Sarah Brady and handgun control, and you can bet that anything that's favorable to gun owners is not going to come out there.
That's right.
I think in Gun Week last week, there was an article about a man who was so violently against guns and violence that he got a special license plate, Ban 357. And and then they find out that he's been accused of, and I don't know, convicted yet, but accused of killing his wife, cutting her heart and liver out, and impaling them on a stick. And the comment that was made by the writer was that Sarah Brady must be awfully proud of him for not using a gun.
You know, friends, it's rare in any field of manufacture that one particular company has a clear-cut advantage over the others. Well, in this case, it's Corbin Ammunition, Corbin Bullet Company, because they make the best handgun, long gun, and even some specialty caliber ammunition that's been real hard to get in the past. If you really want your handgun or rifle to perform at their absolute best, you need to find some Corbin ammunition. For information on where you can get Corbin, information on their product line, call them. Corbin Bullet Company, 1-800-626-7266. Again, give them a call. It's a free call, 1-800-626-7266. Trust me on this one. Corbin is the best there is. Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
This is it, the product that all gun collectors, hunters, and enthusiasts have been waiting for. It's Sweet Shooter. This amazing space-age product protects your valuable guns and knives. No more rusting, no more corroding, no more time-consuming cleanups, no more fouling. Recommended by the North American Hunting Club and Murray State College, Sweet Shooter provides greater accuracy, higher velocity, longer life, smoother action. You don't want to be without the protection only Sweet Shooter can give you. Like nothing else on the market today, it solves all your gun care problems. Only $19.95. So grab your credit card and call today. Sweet Shooter!
The problem is, remember that old adage, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and these people are making noise. The anti-gun people are there and doing everything they can against us every day. So there's only one thing we can do, is we have to fight back.
I wouldn't worry about the anti-gun people. What I'm worried about is the liberal press, because the liberal press plays them up and makes it appear that that's the sentiment in the country. And that means that you have to work harder than ever, because we've got elections coming up. We've got elections coming up in Louisiana. Incidentally, I want to thank Leatrice J. Strong in Monroe, Tennessee, for sending me a $25 check to contribute toward the mailings.
Well, good. Wasn't that nice?
Yeah, I thought it was just great. I was so surprised in opening that. Those are fine people. And it means, though, that we all have to work harder than ever. We have to make sure we register to vote. We have to get our friends to register to vote. We have to encourage them to go vote, provided they're going to vote on our side. Otherwise, encourage them to go fishing, or take a vacation, do anything. But we aren't out of the woods yet.
Well, Colin Powell is being deified right now in the media. You know, it was interesting, an ABC News team was out the other day, and we understand that they're putting together a program, a hatchet job on gun owners, something about this bomber in Oklahoma City, and trying to equate all of us who enjoy guns and the folks that came to the convention the other day. We understand that's what they're working on, so they were politely told how we all felt about them and their news coverage at the range the other day. And they were told in no uncertain terms, believe me.
Well, that's not going to keep them from doing it,
Certainly
for sure.
not.
And in fact, it may even increase their desire and intent to get it done. Remember, we've still got reprints of the cover-up at Oklahoma City. And those of you that want it, send me $1.50 or $2, and we'll get them mailed to you. And all of them that I've gotten so far have been mailed now. They're all out.
And you could send it to the judge, care of the Shootin' Show, and write this down. You always know when our show starts, you need to get a pencil handy because we have addresses. But it's at 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. The zip code is 71104.
Well, that's right, and I will certainly get them out. And I've tried to get everyone out that's come in so far. I think I've got one. I think I've got one that just came in. I got today. Of course, today's first day back in the office, and I've got to get that one out. But that's all. So if you haven't gotten them, let us know, because we've tried. And if any of you want them, and if they're going to try to make a big television production out of Oklahoma City and try to inflame the public and get them interested in the so-called anti-terrorism bill, which gives sweeping new powers to the FBI and to BATF and various other anti-gun type people, and I think the FBI falls in that category. I wouldn't have thought that about the FBI, but I know that the director of the FBI, Louis Freeh, former Judge Freeh, is vociferously anti-gun. Of course, people that have a license to carry them around sometimes get resentful that other people may have them too.
You're thinking of the federal authorities?
I'm thinking of federal authorities, yes. Particularly. State authorities too, as far as that goes. But the rank and file policemen are by and large on our side, because they know they can't patrol the streets by themselves. It just cannot be done.
And I do want to say, you know, the Shootin' Show and both of us are in support of all the U.S. service people. We're very pleased. Our show is now going to Germany to the U.S. service people, and we really are glad to have you folks watching. We're glad to have you on board. So,
well, I'm certainly happy about service personnel getting it. I thought we were going to get a chance at SOF to talk to the that naval officer that took that survey at 29 Palms, but I never did.
Scheduling was a real problem. However, we got some great interviews out there that we hope you enjoy on today's program.
And I wish I'd had a chance to talk to Donovan a little bit more. He's a man that's in the demolition business, about his views about Oklahoma City, but I didn't get a chance to ask him that because he was running fast from one place to another.
We were all running as fast as we could. There's so much to do and so little time to do it in. We also want to thank the good people at the Sands Hotel. They were gracious as ever. They supplied us with excellent accommodations, and we do appreciate that. If you go to Las Vegas, for whatever reason, there are a lot of other things to do in Las Vegas besides gamble, and anyway, the Sands is a great place to stay. What I like so much, and I think I said this at some other point, you can the Strip there in Las Vegas, they really talk about your hustle and your bustle. I mean, it's for real. I mean, there's a crowd 24 hours a day up and down that Strip. However, when you go inside the Sands Hotel and back into their courtyard, it's like you left town. It's quiet and peaceful and just a very nice place to stay.
Well, they've got a lot of property with that structure. They've got one big round building that goes 8,
Tower.
10, 12 stories high, and then they've got a lot of space behind it, and they've got individual 2- and 3-story buildings surrounding the area, and 2 swimming pools, and it's an area that really seems to be removed from the hustle and bustle of the Strip.
All right, sir. Anything else you want to add?
Well, we got a chance to hear Sheriff Mack from Arizona talk briefly. He's written a book, and he was selling it there at the Soldier Fortune Convention called, I think, From My Cold Dead Hands. But I got in the mail yesterday, apparently, I found it on my desk this morning, a copy of the judge's opinion in that case that he brought to invalidate the Brady Law. And the judge invalidated the Brady bill and the Brady Law, and made his order sweeping enough so where the government objected to it, saying, well, it affects the whole United States, not just this district, and this is all you ought to do. And the judge took that under consideration and wrote another opinion, said that's exactly the way he intended it to be, to affect the whole country. The opinion is a well-reasoned, supported argument, and I'm glad to have a copy of it. A friend of mine from Oil City, or from, not Oil City, Vivian, Louisiana, sent it to me. I don't know where he got it from. We've got I just can't get into all of the information that we've got. I think that what we need to do is to realize that the anti-gun people, including that woman congressman from Boulder, Colorado, are trying to convince the public that the tide has turned, that the revolution that we had, took place at the polls, is over with. That's a bunch of nonsense. And in that connection, I've got to add something else. They keep talking about cuts in Medicare, cuts in Social Security. The Democrats say cuts. The Republicans say that they are being allowed to increase. They just aren't increasing as fast as they have in the past. This is the worst kind of demagoguery to call it a cut. I mean, suppose I have a child, they're getting $1 a week allowance, or $10 a week now maybe, allowance, and they come up and ask me for $50 a week for an allowance. I say no, but I'll give you $25. They say, well, but we've been cut $25.
That's a lie.
Well, sure it is.
It's a lie.
And that's exactly what's happening with Social Security and Medicare. We have got to look beyond the rhetoric. And I'm really disgusted with the way the Democratic leaders in Congress are doing, because they are saying things that are simply not true. They're getting elderly people, and I'm among them, upset. And we don't have any reason to be upset. In fact, I believe that most elderly people, and as I said, I classify myself in that group, most elderly people are willing to take some limitations in their benefits or entitlements or whatever you want to call it, as long as everybody does, as long as it's across the board. It's not something just directed at them. But the truth of the matter is it's not being cut at all. Medicare is not being cut. Social Security is not being cut. What they're trying to cut is ownership of firearms. And the Republicans are opposing that.
Well, there's something that came out of one of those speeches. I don't remember if it was Gordon or not, but he said, you know, those people that died face down in the mud on foreign battlefields were not fighting for government programs. They were fighting for freedom.
That's true. That's true, and freedom can be made to stick when you have an armed population. And that's another thing. They're trying to vilify the militias. So far, they've been tied, as near as I can tell, the militias haven't been tied into any single, not one illegal act. Not a single thing. They've tried to tie the man they've accused up in Oklahoma City with a militia, but he didn't have any militia ties. And that's like saying, well, he's a member of the human race, so the whole human race is responsible. And that's absurd.